What's going on, guys? It's Uzziah. Welcome to the Uzziah Show. I am your host, Uzziah, your success strategist. And if you have any questions about your business, career, or finances, then this is the show for you. Welcome. I'm excited because we're talking about $1.7 billion of student loans being forgiven. A lot of y'all just got to come up and we are going to talk about it. There has been a major student loan company that just canceled $1.7 billion worth of student loans. Are you one of them? If so, you might want to tune into this broadcast. Leave me a comment and let me know. Listen, guys, welcome. If this is your first time watching, my name is Uzziah. I'm a professional business consultant, and my job is to help you get out of debt so you can start your own business. And some of y'all might have just gotten out of debt based upon how Navient is looking out for you. So I'm going to go ahead and hop straight into it. As y'all know, please smash that like button. Please make sure that you sponsor this channel. Your support goes a very long way. Let's look at these articles, y'all. So it was recently announced. I'm going to start off first with this one article by CNBC. Give me one quick second, y'all. Make sure y'all leave me a comment. Let me know if y'all heard of this. Let me know if y'all heard of this. If this is news to you, press 1. If you already knew about this, press 2. Tap in with me. Okay, I'm putting the info on the screen. It says student loan processor Navient required to cancel $1.7 billion in student loans. Navient, one of the largest student loan servicers, will cancel $1.7 billion in private student loans after a deal it reached with 39 states. The lender was accused of giving out private loans to students who would be unable to pay them. As part of the settlement, Navient denied that it violated the law. Now, I want to talk about this. I want to spend some time talking about this point right here. The lender was accused of giving out private loans to students who would be unable to pay them. I think that's a really interesting point. It says, Navient, one of the largest student loan servicers, will cancel $1.7 billion in private student loans after a deal it reached with 39 states. I'm jumping down to right here. Nearly 66,000 borrowers are expected to get their loans cleared under the $1.85 billion deal. Now, I want y'all to understand what's going on over here. What's happening is there's $1.7 billion that's going towards wiping out people's student loan debt completely. If that's you, congratulations. You know, some of us, we had to work hard to pay our student loans off. So I might feel a kind of way about you getting out of debt for free like that.
Nope.
I'm going to talk about that in just a second. But I want y'all to know, it says, at long last, I got to put on the victim music right on this one, y'all. At long last, the student loan borrowers who had been forced to shoulder the burden of dangerous and predatory private student loans made by Sallie Mae and owned by Navient will finally be debt-free. This is a very interesting point because I have a question. How many people, after getting this student loan canceled, will actually be debt-free? Is this their only debt? And if it is, will this debt cancellation keep them from getting back into debt all over again? I want to know y'all's thoughts. Now, I believe that there's some people that's out there that make good decisions with money, who, like myself, went to college at a young age and had no idea what they were doing. When it was time to sign up for all those student loans, they thought it was free money. So now that they have grown and become an adult, They finally learn how to be responsible with their finances. And this, for them, is an incredible win. It says, at long last, the student loan borrowers who had been forced to shoulder the burden of dangerous and predatory private student loans made by Sallie Mae and owned by Navient will finally be debt free. Listen, y'all, I'm going to check these comments. I'm going to put a link in the comments section to Cam Up. I want to see what y'all think about this topic. I got some questions. One of the questions that I have is, are you on this list? Are you one of the 66,000 people who just had their student loans cleared? Is that you?
Nope.
If so, you definitely came up. And also, I want to understand, will this change anything? Will this be the primary trigger that will make people rebound in the market? Or is this going to be something that's going to put people right back into debt all over again? Let me give you all an example of what I'm talking about. You know, you've probably known a person or two who's gone through a triple bypass surgery. And when they went through that triple bypass surgery, sometimes the reason why they got that surgery done was so that they could scientifically lose the weight. But then once the weight was lost, they kept the same dietary practices that got them to that weight in the first place. They kept doing the same things. So no matter how many surgeries they got to take off the pounds, they still kept adding it back on. I know I'm generalizing. Stay with me. I'm making this analogy pertaining to debt because just like in the example that I shared, there will be some people that do have those surgeries and they will never go back to that weight. They will start to apply different lifestyle practices that allows them to maintain a different weight. Maybe they have a different exercise regimen. Maybe they're on a different diet. They're no longer doing the things that they used to do that got them to that weight. But oftentimes, not all the time, you'll have people that'll go through a temporary phase and then they will revert back to their old ways. My question is, how many people just got a double bypass surgery with their student loans? How many people just had a lot of weight shed off and are going to start budgeting their money, focusing on maximizing their income, preparing for inflation? How many people are going to do the things necessary to stay out of debt versus the number of people amongst that 66,000 that said, oh, great, oh, yes, now I can get that credit card I always wanted. Now I could qualify for that home that I can't afford. I'm saying this not to be a downer. I'm saying this to warn you, just because you got a bailout, it does not mean you will be set for the rest of your life unless you start to put your money in your own hands. Unless you start to focus on being responsible with your money, all of the bailouts in the world are not going to help.
Nope.
Think about all the people that win the lottery, earn millions of dollars, and then within a few years' time, they've gone bankrupt, completely broke. It's not just about falling on luck. It's about making sure that you maintain whatever blessing it is that you get. I'm sorry, I got to say this. Some of y'all could get out of this student loan debt and you could go right back in as quickly as you went out. And you know the reason why I know that? Because I was one of them. See, I'm not saying this to get on everybody else and act like I'm absolved, Because when I paid off my $95,000 in student loans 2 years after graduating from college, you know what I turned right back around and did? I went back into $80,000 in debt right after that. And I paid it all off all over again. Now, just like when I went to college, I went back into debt because I was trying to learn everything that I needed to know about how to run a business. For those of y'all that were on yesterday, y'all saw we had a very important talk with this brother named Wealth Engineering. And he talked in that broadcast about how people can easily get themselves back into debt, how you'll go to college and you'll rack up all these student loans only to come to find that it's not enough to make one stream of income. So what he said was, even on top of his engineering position, he started paying people to learn how to run a business. He started studying from other top entrepreneurs how they were successful. And that was the exact same thing that I did once I got rid of Sally Mae. Once I paid off my $95,000 in student loans, I spent over $100,000 investing into my business. And one of the things that I just really want y'all to realize is I got back into that debt, not just because I was trying to learn business. I got back into that debt because all of the things that I was doing to get me out of my debt, I stopped doing. I paid off my $95,000 in loans, and I was like, oh man, I made it. I know everything that there is to know about money.
Nope.
I know how to make smart financial decisions. And then I got comfortable. I stopped budgeting. And before you know it, I went right back into debt all over again. And after that happened, I had to get back. I had to lock down. And then I had to focus on what it takes to get out of debt as quickly as possible. So all of that business debt I had paid off. Guys, this can be a life-changing opportunity for some of you. I'm telling you this because I'm warning you now. Don't think that just because one debt is paid off, that you're never going to be in debt again for the rest of your life. You know how they tell people that get out of prison, you'll be back again. The reason why they say that is because the guards understand it's about your habits. You can stay in jail for years, but if you still have the exact same mindset that got you put into jail, as soon as you get out of jail, you'll do things to put yourself right back in. That's not the case for everybody. I'm simply giving real world examples on how this happens and how you can avoid this if you've been blessed enough with a bailout to get rid of Sally Mae. Okay, make sure that y'all smash that like button. Please make sure that y'all donate. Listen, man, for those of y'all that got rid of Sally Mae, who got bailed out of Sally Mae, do your brother a favor. Share the wealth. Now that y'all got money again, just give a brief donation, y'all. Don't go into debt to do it. Just support your boy. All you got to do is tap the dollar icon directly below the live chat box. Your sponsorship goes a very long way. As I always tell you guys, this channel runs 6 days a week, and I could not do that without your support. So whoever makes the highest sponsorship for the evening will be the top sponsor for tonight's broadcast. Okay, now I want to pull up a second article real quick before we bring this thing to a close. I'm not going to be on here all night. I'm just going to show y'all a few things. We saw in the first article that Navient is canceling $1.7 billion of student loans. Hopefully that's some of y'all that's on. Now on the second article, it says Navient student loan settlement primarily applies to delinquent borrowers. So notice this. There are some people who have been making on-time payments that did not get off the hook.
Nope.
Because the way that this works is the lenders will look and go, oh, well, you know, you can handle it. You can afford this payment. So instead, we'll bail out the people who haven't been paying on this thing at all. That's the reason why it mentioned 66,000 borrowers. There are a lot more borrowers of student loans, but this number specifically was bailed out. I want y'all to see something. It says for years, the student loan servicing company Navient allegedly encouraged student loan borrowers to enter costly long-term forbearance programs that pushed them further into debt, as well as take on private loans they couldn't pay back. Now, that's one quick thing that I want to talk about as well. How do you know if a person can or cannot pay off their student loans? Because everybody is broke for the most part when you apply. Do y'all realize that most people that go to college, 17, 18 years old, they ain't got no real job? If they had a basic little 9-to-5 job in high school, a lot of them quit that job in order to get into college full time. So that's a statement that really baffles me, because I'm like, yo, how can you say loans were given out to people that couldn't afford to pay them when that really is the crux of what a student loan is? Anytime that you give out a student loan to a teenager, it's always a gamble on whether or not it's going to get paid off. None of these people is holding on to the bag. Now, unless you have a student loan where you got a co-signer and your parent is rich, that's pretty much the way that this thing works. So to me, I just find it interesting, because when you get out of college, everybody's got to figure out how they're going to survive in the real world. And we see that there are some people that end up getting out of college and they get into a solid career path. You got a lot of people, even that still do get jobs, to go back home and live with their parents, and they have to spend a few years struggling. It says for years, the student loan servicing company Navient allegedly encouraged student loan borrowers to enter costly long-term forbearance programs that pushed them further into debt, as well as take on private loans they couldn't pay back, according to lawsuits filed by several states and joined by 39 attorneys general. It says those claims were resolved through a settlement announced yesterday, January 13th, affecting some 400,000 borrowers. Navient says it will cancel $1.7 billion in private student loan debt for 66,000 borrowers, as well as pay an additional $95 million in restitution to 350,000 people with federal loans. So y'all got to see this. Not only is Navient canceling people's student loans completely, 350,000 borrowers are also getting money back from Navient. I'm telling y'all, man, where was all of this in 2013 when I paid off my student loans?
Nope.
That's another question that I got to pose for y'all. And this is a question that I'm posing for y'all. No hate. I'm just making it sound like this, y'all, because we're doing a show. Y'all know I got to keep it interesting for y'all. Is it fair for the people who actually did grind to pay these student loans off to not get anything from all of the handouts that are given to delinquent borrowers? Is it fair for the people who got themselves into these loans, who never paid it back, to be compensated by Navient, while the people that actually paid off the student loans, regardless of how much it was, walked away with absolutely nothing?
Nope.
I'm telling y'all again, I paid off over $95,000 in student loans. I did not get any handouts by any of the lenders to get me out of that thing. Sis Pecloria says, wow, this is news to me. How do people know if they are qualified for the forgiveness program? Now, typically, you had to sign up for a student loan forgiveness program either with a lender or through your employer. There are certain government programs where if you guys work at certain government jobs, as long as you're there for a certain period of time, like, for example, if you're a teacher or if you work for the post office, there's certain jobs where if you work them long enough, you may be able to qualify for student loan relief. But in a situation like this, because of the fact that Navient was facing lawsuits, they just blanketly started to forgive 66,000 people. Yasha Al, I'm going to cam you up on this. It's good to see you today, my brother. How are you doing?
Hey, shalom, big brother. Shalom. Doing well.
Good to see you, sir. What are your thoughts on this? Navient bailed out 66,000 people, $1.7 billion in student loans forgiven. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts is, if it's us, they're going back in debt. I mean, I'm sorry. That's how majority of us think, going back in debt. That relieves it. Well, you know what? I ain't got to pay it, but I'll do this. They won't break their spending habits. They just won't.
Right.
It just give me opportunities, give me world, they think, but I'm not going to pay my car note. I'm not going to pay my car insurance. You know what I'm saying? You know, my dad gave me a loan. I'm not going to pay them back either. So give me state. And they put that mindset in you so you won't break that habit. You see what I'm saying?
So but you're saying it's almost kind of like a dependency that they're forming.
Correct. You're correct. Because everybody would do that too. If you pay my bills, brother, I'll sit back. I'm sorry. You pay my bills, I'll do it again. You're going to keep paying it. You know what I'm saying? So that mindset sinks in. I'll just stay where I'm at. We all do it. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. I want the milk, but I'm not gonna buy the cow. You see what I'm saying? We use that in scriptures too. So I want the milk. As long as I'm getting that, I don't need no cow. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? But
I'm glad that you brought that up as a point, because my last question was going to be, do you think that as much as for some this will definitely be a blessing in disguise, do you think that it'll be a curse for others? Meaning, do you think that there are some people who will see this and maybe they weren't the ones who had their student loans forgiven? There may be certain people holding on to massive debt that hear about this in the news and go, oh, student loan companies is forgiving folks now? Well, I ain't about to pay none of this.
Nope.
You know, if I was about to pay, I am about to give them a dime. They were robbing me. They were taking advantage of me. And because they were doing all of that, I ain't about to pay nobody. Do you think that now that this has happened, it's actually going to start a chain reaction of other people who were borrowers that are no longer going to looking to pay, hoping that if they hold out, they'll be on the receiving end of this blessing too?
They are. They done before with the PPP loan and trucking. I've got this money, and I've been going to jail behind it too. They did the wrong thing with it.
Yes.
And they're gonna look at whereas you know what? How many months I have to be behind? How long is it gonna last? Because I'll do the same thing. I'm gonna tell you straight up. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna look at all the nicks and crannies first. It's gonna last for another year. And I'm 3 months behind, I ain't paying. I'm gonna get mine deleted too. That's just common sense. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's going, you said, it's going to form a dependency. So, you know, and I tell people, don't do that. There's some up their sleeve. You know, like now, everybody's going to jail. You got a $100,000 PPP loan, but you bought a brand new Mercedes Benz.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean,
absolutely.
And
it's
I'm crazy. Like, and it's mostly our people. I'm like, why would you do that? You know, I'm like, why? That's what the federal government, man. They have unlimited resources, period.
We're going to have to pick back up on this. We're going to have to part two this. I'm going to bring this one to a close. We're going to do it again next week. Thank you so much. Make sure you keep that same energy, though, because I'm liking where you're going. And let's pick back up. I also want to say this real quick, just for y'all that are on. The same thing could be said about the stimulus money. You know, ain't none of us around here saying if the government gave you a stimulus check, oh, turn it down. No, you're going to get yours out the mud. Yes, you're going to use the stimulus check, but look at how many people started to exploit the system because the government was giving out all of those checks. That's why Yashal is saying you don't want to have a dependency on it. Hey, if you're one of the people that got bailed out, congratulations. I wish it was me. However, have the right mindset so that you don't get back into debt again. Listen, y'all, I'm out of here. Please make sure that y'all support this broadcast. Make sure that y'all sponsor this show, y'all. Tap that dollar icon directly below the live chat box. Cash App, PayPal, donate, share this broadcast, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. I pray that y'all have a great weekend, and Lord willing, I'll see y'all on Sunday.